Okay, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call tonight's meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, April 9th, 2013. We're in the Village Boardroom for a board meeting followed by a Committee of the Whole meeting. It looks like it's 7 o'clock. Our first order is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Booth, would you please call our roll tonight?
Present.
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 Present. Present.
Present. We do have a quorum, and officially like to welcome Paul back to the fold. He was on medical hiatus for a little bit. He looks great, and I know he's feeling great as well, and we're glad that he's back in the game.
Good to be back, guys.
Welcome.
Okay, our first item is the swearing in of Officer Joe Rizzo. I see Joe up there.
That's weird.
Or he did an internship here. Is this the
Okay, I know we did this.
That's what I thought. I was going to say.
Police Academy, but we didn't have the opportunity to serve with the rest of the village board. So with that in mind,
Yeah.
I state your name. I, Joe Rizzo, do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. To support the Constitution of the United States. To support the Constitution of the United States. Constitution of the State of Illinois. Constitution of the State of Illinois. Enforce the laws and ordinances of the Village of Westchester. Enforce the laws and ordinances of the Village of Westchester. Faithfully discharge your duties as a patrol officer. Faithfully discharge my duties as a patrol officer to the best of your ability. To the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations. Mother wants to pin your badge on, which is an honor. There you go. Nice. Congratulations to you as well. You're quite welcome. And the family as well? Family, come up for a picture. You come up, everybody, come up. Everybody's involved. It's a very proud moment, certainly for you, your family, just your father. Congratulations, Dad. Congratulations. Greg's going to shoot a picture.
He's like, I didn't sign up for this.
There's pictures.
No? Okay. Sorry.
Yes, Officer Rizzo, our village board, why don't you introduce yourself to him and welcome to our department.
Welcome. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Congratulations, good sir. Thank you. Size 6. I'm a 10 and a half. I'll have you know.
Okay, are there any more presentations this evening?
No.
Nothing, okay. Item number 5, public comments and questions. To give as many visitors as possible an opportunity to speak. In the interest of adjourning by 9, please limit your comments to 3 minutes unless granted further time by the board on active or general matters that we may be able to answer. So if you wouldn't mind stepping up to the podium there, introduce yourself with your address for our clerk. Anyone? Once? Twice? 3 times, okay. I don't believe there's any public hearings that have
No,
crept
there are
up
not.
during the day. Okay, our item number 7 is our consent agenda. There's approval of the bills, monthly department reports, approval of minutes, and there's a bunch of board cows on there as well, and a resolution authorizing the purchase of the HP Design Jet Konica Minolta the scanner that
that I'm sure is going to be used by the Public Works and by Melissa in Community Development. Anything need to be pulled? Brian?
The board minutes of March 12th, both the board and the cow, please.
So that would be 3 and 4 of the minutes.
Correct.
Anything else? Nothing? Is there a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with the exception of C3 and C4?
So moved.
Second.
Wait, who was the motion? Frank?
Nikki,
And the
Nikki
sec-
motioned.
Nick and Frank? All right. Okay, and those items, roll call, please.
Mr. Gattuso?
Aye.
Mr. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Sloan?
Aye.
Mr. Stecker?
Aye.
Mr. Yurkovich?
Aye.
Mr. Pulido?
Aye, motion carries. Item number C3, may I have a motion and a second to approve the March 12th, 2013 board meeting minutes? Motion by
So moved.
Second.
Wally, Brian. Discussion, Brian?
That's the board.
Board of March 12th.
Under public participation, Carl Celestino presented a petition. This reads from the 911 employees. I thought that was from residents. Was it? I thought he said it was from like 300
It
residents.
was a
or
resident
something.
petition, it was.
So if we just change that.
Is there any other changes to those minutes or additions or deletions? If not, the motion is on the floor with the correct information to be presented. All those in favor of approving those minutes say aye.
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 Any opposition say no. Those are approved. Motion a second to approve the minutes of March 12th, 2013 COW meeting, which is C4. Motion by
So moved. Second.
Tom and Nick. Brian, discussion?
In the item B under new business, the maybe third line up from the bottom indicates the red light will be over the red light. I think that's supposed to reference that the sign will now be over the stoplight.
Okay, is there any other corrections, B?
No.
Nothing? Anything from the board? If not, motion and second are on the floor for the approval with the change of the wording. All those in favor of approving those minutes with the change say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition say no. Those are changed as well. Under item number 8 on the active agenda, we have the ordinance amending Chapter 1540 backflow prevention. Motion a second to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Brian and Nick, sorry. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Wally?
I have a question. There's one part in there, and I'm looking for it right now. I apologize for not flagging it, but it was saying is if the resident disconnects, does jumps or redoes something to the valve, that they're responsible for the cleaning out, for all the funds, or the financial for cleaning out the water system. I'm just curious how realistic that is. You know, I mean, what would be a dollar amount? You know, I hate to put something in there that says, okay, by the way, you owe us $5 million. I'm just curious how.
Melissa, do you have any comments?
I'm trying to find out where it's at.
I think it's just put in there in case there's ever a spill or some sort of contamination of the water supply system. It's putting the responsibility back on the person that created the contamination issue, as opposed to it's making it clear that it's their responsibility, not the village's responsibility.
I understand that. I just might, we could put something in there, but if it's really is it like, how much would it cost?
1540.
1540. Oh, here it is. I just looked at it.
Paragraph indicated is 15.040.060.
That's just my question.
Well-
I hate to put something, in there that's, if it's a reasonable amount, but if it's unreasonable.
Well, I think where you may run into, in the event that would happen and there would be some kind of contamination, I don't know how we would assess to put a dollar value on it, number one. But I think the flip side of that is if you put a dollar value on it, you may be limiting if there was, and this could be any type of contamination, it would limit your ability to collect, even in a tort or a suit, reasonable damages that certainly would be set by the court. If you said that it was $1,000 and there was some contamination of oil or something because of something somehow, how realistic, I don't know, but you may be limiting yourself in a court action if you do put a dollar amount on it. Is that pretty much what your thinking is in that piece, Melissa?
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just that a resident would be, that would be subject to this clause, but if there's a business that possibly created some sort of contamination issue, I mean, there's no way to know
Melissa,
what
could
the
you speak
level-
up in the mic? I'm
sorry.
barely hearing you.
You need to talk in the mic.
I'm sorry.
Her mouth's like right on it.
Oh, really?
Is it not working? What? This better? Okay.
There we go.
I don't think there's any way to know how much the cost of the cleanup would be unless you knew how bad the contamination was.
If I can say something too on this, I wonder if this kind of falls under the Spiller Pay Act for hazardous material spills. With being a contamination, this falls into maybe a hazardous material where spiller, whether it be a private citizen or a business, is responsible for cleanup costs that are involved with any type of contamination or hazardous material to anything.
Gotcha.
Is that answered
Yeah, thanks.
sufficiently? I think it gives us some flexibility in the
Yeah.
event, God forbid, we have
No.
something. But
Just want to make sure we're reasonable, We tend not to be, so.
are there any questions also on that ordinance as well? Anything, B? Anything? No. Okay, there's a motion, a second on the floor for the approval. Let's do a roll call, please.
Mr. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Sloan?
Aye.
Mr. Stecker?
Aye.
Mr. Yurkovich?
Aye.
Mr. Vituso?
Aye.
Mr. Polio?
Aye, motion carries. I believe item B needs to be, I don't believe we talked about this at our last board meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, but we need a motion to suspend the rules. Is that not correct?
Correct.
Okay. The resolution is the village is declining the village's first right to purchase the property from the Westchester local library. We have representatives from the library here as well. So is there a motion, a second, to suspend those rules?
So moved. Second.
Frank? And Nick? Roll call, please.
Mr. Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Sloan?
Aye.
Mr. Stecker?
Aye.
Mr. Yurkovich?
Aye.
Mr. Vituso?
Aye.
Mr. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Polio?
Aye. Is there a motion and a second for the approval of the resolution? Motion by
So moved.
Wally, second
Second.
by. Who was the second?
Nick.
I'm sorry. Nick?
You haven't heard me all night, this guy.
Wally and Nick. Okay, discussion, Janet, you want to run us through this piece there? If there's any additional information, I know there's representatives of the library here as well that could fill in any blanks.
As a technicality, the library is fiscally, the village is fiscally responsible for the library as they don't have the right to issue their own taxes and whatnot. So they are planning on selling 2 properties owned by the library, and as such, they need to give us the right of first refusal to purchase said properties, and this ordinance is allowing them to go forward and sell the properties as the village does not have an intent to purchase them.
Okay. Any board members have a question, or anybody want to purchase it?
What were they asking?
What's your going rate?
Boy, Tommy's up.
Okay, doesn't appear that there's going to be any questions or comments relative to that. There's a motion and a second on the floor of the declination. Kathy, roll call, please.
Mr. Sloan?
Aye.
Mr. Stecker?
Aye.
Mr. Yurkovich?
Aye.
Mr. Vituso?
Aye.
Mr. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Polio?
Aye, motion carries. By the way, have you set your prices already? Is it public knowledge of what your on your prices as well? Okay. All right. All right, item number 9, manager's report. Janet.
Just a couple things to note this evening, a couple of calendar things. NORCOM has scheduled several open houses. The first one was last Saturday for any residents who would like to tour their facility or obtain additional information about our impending decision regarding consolidation of the telecommunication services. Those 3 remaining open houses will be held this Thursday, April 11th from 6 to 9 p.m., next Tuesday, April 16th from 6 to 9 p.m., or the following Saturday, April 20th from 10 to 2 at the lower level of the Leiden Fire Department at 2600 North Manheim in Franklin Park. Also, just a heads up for everyone to save the date for Saturday, May 4th. The village will be hosting its first special event of the season. We're going to have a Cinco de Mayo celebration to be held at Gladstone Park from 3
To 8.
to 8 p.m.
3 to 8.
So we hope everybody will come out.
That Saturday is May 4th, right?
4th.
Yes, so it's really Cuatro de
Cuatro de
Cinco.
Mayo, yeah.
Cuatro de Mayo. But hey, we'll make do. Then on a official note, we just want to make all residents available that the budget will be available for inspection here at Village Hall no later than April 13th. And that's all I have this evening.
Your turn. Anything in the eyes of the attorney?
I have nothing to
Nothing. Other than it's a boy and July 6th. So those are the important things to know about tonight's
Congratulations.
evening.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
all right. Let's see. Miss April, anything?
Yes, we're happy to welcome the new police recruit that was just sworn in this evening, Joseph Rizzo. I'd like to point out that Joseph Rizzo was our first intern in our new program that was instituted under this administration. He has completed 1 week with us so far. He is a former graduate of Western University where he received an A in the course, and that was in relation to his reporting of his actions when he was an intern. To piggyback on Cinco de Mayo, we will be conducting with the Illinois Department of Traffic Safety Enforcement campaign where we'll be focusing on impaired drivers and seatbelt violations. And also our last item is the police department will be conducting an open house on May 18th from 10 to 2 p.m. and that is to celebrate National Police Week. And I'd like to bring to the public's attention that last year in 2012, 120 police officers lost their lives and paid the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty.
Thank you, Chief. Jimmy.
Unfortunately, there was a fire in town on the 1600 block of Stratford. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. It was a occupied, vacated house at this point. All the fire departments that responded did an outstanding job. Westchester obviously included, but Hillside, Bellwood, Broadview, Berkeley did a very good job. Became structurally unsafe, so the right decisions in the command staff were made to pull people out of the building and protect the surrounding buildings. And then also April is Julie month. I have it posted at my firehouses. If you do any digging in town, call Julie first, and the number is 811. I believe you have to give at least 48 hours notice, if not more would be better. So call Julie to avoid any unforeseen underground utilities.
And piggybacking on your fires, it's my understanding that a member of this board was the investigator of to try to determine the origin of the fire and Nick Stecker, our resident Franklin Park person who handled that investigation. So, thank you, Nick.
No problemo.
Annie.
Good evening. Vehicle stickers remain on sale at the Village Hall. You can purchase your sticker by returning the stub by mail or logging on to the village's website, or you can come on in and see us. Get your vehicle sticker before April 30th. They're required to be displayed prior or May 1st or prior. May 1st, all fees double. Village Hall will be open this coming Saturday for court, so if you're only available on the weekends, you can stop in them. Added an additional person to the schedule to accommodate the increase in traffic there. Beyond that, we'll have budget discussions on the cow.
Thank you. Gregory?
Yes, this board not too long ago passed a resolution to allow Spyglass to do some auditing of our phone lines, phone system. They've come back to me with some of the results, and right now we're going through all of those numbers to determine what we can do. Some of it's technology-based. They're making some recommendations and suggestions in organizations they've seen elsewhere, how they can minimize their costs based on the equipment that we have, and without having to buy any more equipment. So I'll be coming back to Ann and Janet with those results as we figure them out. Some of it has to do with our Crestwood pumping station and our overhead water tower, as some lines were there that they're just recently getting rid of. They started going to a radio-based system. So again, I'll be coming back to them. And then to continue on with the list of events, might as well round off the rest of the events that we do have locked in place in terms of a time, date, place. June 4th at the Park District, we're going to be having a movie night. Be 8:30 until the end of the movie, and everybody's out of the park. Additionally, the other date that we've locked into is the barbecue block party. Barbecue block party will be July 27th. Be in the community center parking lot at this point. We've actually visited the facilities there, looked at the layout, how we're going to plan it out. Gary was gracious enough to partner with the church to get some of their outdoor tent equipment. They're going to be having something the following day, so they're going to plan on having it a day after our event. So again, that's barbecue block party, July 27th. Tentatively time, although time is the only thing we don't have yet, but most likely between noon and 8 p.m. And if anybody likes jalapenos, we're going to be having a jalapeno eating contest.
Might be fun.
Thanks, Greg. Dave?
The Public Works Department has been active switching from winter to construction mode recently. The sweeper's out now. The last couple of days, the sweeper's been out sweeping the curbs in town. We've also begun saw cutting pavement for restoration as a result of numerous water main breaks throughout the winter. Hot mix asphalt will be available in a week or so, so we'll be making those patches soon. We've also been regrading the gravel alleys throughout town. We borrowed the motor grader from Bellwood most recently. We've also been pothole patching and doing restoration as a result of ash tree removals. A report on the sanitary sewer lining in the east central portion of town. That's roughly 75% complete, with completion expected in the next couple of weeks. Our concrete program is scheduled to begin next week in the western side of town, phase 1, which would include Lancaster, Wellington, Nelson Square, Fleet, and Preston. We just had a pre-construction meeting today with our successful contractor, so that work will be beginning next week. That's all I have to report.
I see you have a guest in the audience that maybe a number of us certainly know, but others may not know. Would you like to introduce our guest employee?
Absolutely. My pleasure to introduce Carl Mill, the new Public Works Supervisor.
Hi, gentlemen.
How are you?
Carl's been an incredible asset to the department so far. He's jumped right in and has exceeded all of my expectations to date. So welcome to Carl, and I'm glad he's on board.
Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you. Carl, would you like to say a couple words?
I just enjoy being here. Thank you very much. It's a great job. It really is active. It's everything I thought it was going to be and more. It's a good place to work. It's a good town. I've been around this area for 25 years, so I know it. It's a good place. I just want to make it beautiful again.
It's almost like, what's that, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride at Disney World? Is that where we're at? Well, good. Well, welcome, sir. Welcome. Melissa, hiding in the corner. You need to scream into the microphone.
I'll try to talk louder. Sorry. Can you hear me now?
A little louder.
Still louder. Okay. permitting is starting to pick up with the warmer weather. We're still accepting our business retention surveys, so if there's any business owners out there listening, please submit your survey. You can do it online. You don't even have to send anything back to us. And we've also been working on collecting information for the backflow prevention and cross-connection control device program. So that's really it.
Miss Kathy. Our village clerk, nothing. Okay, Green Committee, anything?
We have our e-recycling event this Saturday coming up, 9 to 12, weather permitting. If the weather gets nasty, we will close early, so the earlier the better. I was going to tell Chief April, but she's not here, that I will not be available for tasering on the open house for the police, as I was 2 years ago. So,
Volunteers?
And Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, yeah, that's the fine play at the Westchester, the St. Joe's Westchester Civic Theater. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, I have to say I attended it twice with Trustee Sloan and Wally, and it was a very good production. I know that it's this weekend as well.
Yes.
And it's very worthwhile and a very nice play. And
The good news is I'm not in it, so.
Well, the actors that are in it are doing a stellar job.
They're doing a good job.
And I know April and Janet were there as well on Saturday night, and I think we concur that it's a nice production. There had to be at least 50 to 60 people
Yeah,
there,
it's
and
nice.
tickets are available at a nominal charge, and I would encourage everybody that can make that play to certainly support the civic theater that we have in Westchester that, you know, two of our board members have certainly worked very hard in putting it together.
Just to make sure that has nothing to do with the Green Committee, though, so.
No. In a way, it does. Okay.
The next play, though, is going to be Wally getting tased. Ticket
We're
sales
sold
are
out.
already.
We're sold out.
Sold out.
Newest board member, Sherby?
Now she gets to do the tasing. Tommy, anything from the cab? I know you have a meeting tomorrow. Is that not correct?
Yes, we have a meeting tomorrow at 7. Other than that, nothing.
Nothing? Frankie?
I have nothing today.
Economic?
Nothing to report today.
Nikki?
Nothing.
Nothing? Paulie, I know you want to get back in the saddle with special events.
Can't wait. One thing I know that's coming up right now is May 13th starts the car shows. So we're starting those again. That'll be coming up. So mark your calendars. Come on down. See some of the old vintage cars. Listen to some great music. So it's been the parking lot of 31st and Wolf by Paul's. So again, come on down, enjoy, get some great food. There's a bunch of restaurants there, McDonald's, Burger King, myself included, and Subways. And the newest Dunkin' Donuts is there, and Taco Bell. So
Westchester Inn.
And Westchester Inn. That's right.
Don't forget us Bohemians.
So enjoy, come on down, it's free. It's been a great car show for the past 7 years, and hope it continues on even more.
Okay, great. Paulie, thank you. First, I would like to, the President's report, recognize our library board president, Phyllis Castle, is here with us this evening. So for those of you that have not had the pleasure of meeting Phyllis or working with Phyllis, there she is. Okay. As all of you know, there's not going to be a Westchester Fest at St. Joe's this year, so we need to put that out there. In discussions with the Chamber of Commerce, it was decided today at the meeting that the rain out fund account and whatever the checking account was for the festival will be dissolved, and each of the three entities, the park, the village, and the Chamber of Commerce, are going to receive, I think it's $13,000 in change or whatever the third amount is, that's going to go back to our special events, each of our respective committees in that. The Cinco de Mayo on May 4th. It's one of those events that we're trying to add to our repertoire of not replacing the fest, but certainly have enough things that more people from town can participate in, and that'll be our first event. And I think we're all praying for great weather, far better than it was today, so we can put on an event. And Molly's been working very hard in getting certain acts to come at certain times, and piñatas, and dancing, and mariachi bands, and things of that nature. The chamber's going to be working the, I'll say the beer tent, and that. The Park District has the soda and the water tent as well, and the plans are working out very well, and I know Dave and Jim have been involved in the portions of the setup with certainly Greg and other staff. I've asked Janet, we did pass the debt collection ordinance, and I was at a mayor's meeting the other night, and the mayor of Northlake, he had received about $6,000 from the collection from the state. And what we discussed when the people from the state were here from Judy Bart Topinka's office was that we would generate a letter and send a letter to all the people that owe us a debt, telling them they have a certain time frame to take care of that debt, or the debt was going right to the state and would be removed from their income tax returns. The majority of the places that I'm familiar with just passed that information to the state and they collected their money. I think we should give people one last try to pay up before it would go to the debt collection and being taken out of their income tax. Some people count on that money. I know it's probably a wash, but I'm all about
that too, though.
all about fundamental fairness in that here's a letter. If you ignore it, then it's going to go to debt collection, and then there's nothing that you could say. There are a number of old parking tickets and things of that nature. I know in my tenure there were quite a few, and there's probably some things in collections already, and it's one of those opportunities that the state has allowed us to do, and I think we should take advantage of it. Certainly taking a look at it and not springing it on people. I know we put it in the newsletter, but it's going to go.
I
Well,
can't remember, what can you push to the debt collection? As a village, can we go after?
We can go after basically any amounts that are outstanding. Generally, they start with parking violations and things of that sort. You have to accumulate them in particular batches so that they're able to process that. So Greg and I have met with the comptroller's office, and we need to have them do a beta test of our IT, and then we'll be ready to go.
So I'm hoping that that this month we'll be able to get the letter out and get those things out to people, and hopefully they'll settle their score here. And because if the state settles it, they do take a percentage out of it. We'd rather have everything, I would imagine, than. But again, that's another revenue source that certainly we should make ourselves available to, and the board has decided to do it. This morning, Janet and I and Melissa were at the Soaring Foundation, and where that's located is a Native American home, so to speak, right next to the Forest Preserve Police Department on 31st Street. It used to be Mrs. Hollop's house. It's owned by IDNR. There's actually a teepee in the backyard and a number of Native American artifacts in the building. So it was a chamber event that we all attended. It was very nice. They are having a cleanup day of their own on April 27th, which corresponds with our day. And they were able to obtain a group from Comcast to try to help them clean up the area there as well. I think the goal of the foundation is to make it a kind of a nature center similar to the Little Red Schoolhouse, and for children to learn about our heritage, and certainly, more importantly, learning about nature and how everything goes full circle back to nature, and get kids off, I say off their duffs, but off the couch and off the computers to get out. Something similar to what Trustee Yurkovich is trying to do with the cab early on in the summer months, to get kids out and play, something that we used to do all the time, playing ball and other adventures outside that are not being utilized by potentially a lot of the youth of today. Also on Sunday, I attended a walk in the village of Broadview. There is a The strip club apparently has raised its ugly head along Gardner Road and Indian Joe Drive, and there's been a grassroots movement by citizens of Broadview to try to fight that in any way that they can. I don't believe that any community really would want that type of activity in their town, although the courts have indicated that a certain percentage of towns have to be set aside for adult use. But I was with about 50 people, and we did a walk around one of the blocks in Broadview, and their goal is to, regardless of the election in Broadview, that every first Sunday at 5 o'clock is to do another walk and gather a grassroots effort to show whomever is thinking about putting this up that they're not welcome in that location. So Mayor Jones was there, I was there, and a number of officials, and actually quite a few citizens even from the village of Westchester were able to attend and did the walk and profess their angst about having that type of activity in the village. And certainly I know from our discussions and when Paul was mayor and that the Chicago Tea Room, or whatever they're calling it, is not a welcome thing, and certainly it was not welcome by the village board then, and I know in my heart of hearts it's not welcome from the current village board as well. So there's property value crimes, and just having a stigma or reputation of having that type of activity, certainly so close to a residential neighborhood, is something that we want to certainly fight continually. So as more information comes up, I'll email it of different events, and if you're certainly available, I would imagine that the more people out there, not only from Westchester and Broadview, the better off we're going to be. So, okay, I don't think I have anything else. Item number 13, executive session. Under A, 5 Ilix 122C1, appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body. It's kind of a catch-all for all the things that we can do under what was called personnel before. So that doesn't actually mean that we have each one of those things in there, but that is the topic that's allowed for executive session to be talked about. And I believe we're going to do that executive session after the committee of the whole, if that's the board's wish. Wish? Okay. Sure. With that being said, is there a motion and a second to adjourn our board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Tommy and Brian. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Our board meeting stands adjourned.